Alright everyone, welcome back. This is game number 2 here between the little one and DIMAGA. This time we are on Terminus RE. The little one right now spawning in the 12 o'clock position here as our blue Terran player, and down in the 6 o'clock we have got DIMAGA as the red Zerg player. And right now we did see DIMAGA ended up winning the last game between these two players. You know, the little one pushed out with a pretty solid Marine timing push. He had Stim Pack, Combat Shield, he had some Hellions mixed in there as well to deal with those Zerglings, and obviously with the Stim Pack, those Marines are pretty good against those Zerglings as well. However, DIMAGA being on 2 mining bases and then coming out with an in-base hatch was just able to overwhelm the little one's forces with Zerglings. He got a full surround, was able to tear through his units, force the lift off, and that pretty much from that point forward the little one's aggression was stopped. And then DIMAGA, you know, pushed out with that counterattack, was able to keep up Muta Harass, and then just sit outside the front of his base with Banelings. And the little one couldn't push out from that because he didn't go straight to siege tanks. Had he gone to siege tanks, he may have had a better chance of kind of breaking that contain that the Speedlings and Banelings presented to him. But opening up with those Hellions and that timing push and not doing any damage with it really just put him way too far behind. So anyways, here we are, second game between the little one and DIMAGA. We can see right now DIMAGA moving out with his scouting drone, and actually looks like he's going to be heading straight cross-positional, and this will put him right in the little one's base. We did see the little one opening up with a very, very fast refinery, and then that Rax delayed after that, getting that Rax at 13 supplies, opposed to that typical 12. Implication being here that the little one will be opening up with that quick factory and allowing him to move into some early game Hellions. This is more or less what we saw him do last game as well. He opened up with some very fast factory play, getting Hellions, and then he moved right into an expansion. So again, the mentality there is using those Hellions for map control and then being able to get up that expand for that nice strong early game economy. Now DIMAGA does have that hatchery out first, and then we will be seeing Pool. Last game he did delay an extractor quite a bit, and as a result allowed him to drone up very hard, so we will have to see if he decides to go for that same type of build this game as well. Something else to note though is that on this map, much more comfortable just going right into that third. We did see once scouting out the little one's expansion last game, DIMAGA came out with that in-base hatch because he was a little fearful that it may have been a little too difficult to move out to his third at that point in the game. But on this map, very easy to move into your third, so we may very well see him respond that way instead. Factory in production right now. First Marine just about finished. DIMAGA will want to head out of there with that drone. No reason to get caught by surprise with that. And let's see if the little one decides to keep this Marine going or get an attachment. No, he actually can't afford an attachment right now, so we will just keep producing Marines and SCVs right now and getting up those supply depots. And let's again keep an eye as to what he does after this factory is complete. Now right now, I do not believe that DIMAGA, no, he doesn't know that that expansion is coming. Hey, I guess I don't even know that that expansion is coming, but given the way the last game progressed and the fact the little one's doing that same style opening, it's kind of a safe bet. You always want to scout though. You always want to be 100% certain as to whether or not something is coming. We can see the little one will in fact be moving to that expo, just about to hit those 400 resources, and bam, there you go. Command center gets dropped down, the expansion coming on through, and those Hellions will allow him to do this safely because he will be able to protect himself against those early game regular Zerglings. Because as we can see, DIMAGA once more not coming out with that expansion early on. I'm not coming out with that extractor early on, and as such delaying that metabolic boost. So almost identical openings from both players this game. Now something to keep in mind is that this map much larger than the last one. There's just a lot more kind of surface area here, and also moving into your third, as mentioned earlier, a lot easier on this map than it is on Shakur's Plateau. As a result, what you typically end up seeing is some very macro heavy games on this map, especially, I mean, you know, these players are cross positional right now. The little one and DIMAGA pretty much as far away from each other as they can be. And as a result, it makes you, kind of gives you a little bit of sense of comfort and makes expanding not as kind of scary. Now we can see right now, actually, we will be seeing the little one try to break down these rocks because he is expecting DIMAGA to move into this expansion. Also, just providing himself that second avenue of attack will help him quite a bit because it'll allow him to avoid spine crawlers. And as we can see, DIMAGA here uprooting and rerouting his spine crawler up here into a little bit more of a choke position as opposed to a wide open angle in which it was over here defending that hatchery. So there's that third expansion right now coming out for DIMAGA. I'm not sure if he hasn't scouted that expo, but again, I'm just assuming that he's expecting that, given just that's what happened last game. So he's kind of basically expecting that to happen, and he will be confirming that basically as soon as he can get anything out there. Overlord will be his best bet. It looks like he will be just be scouting the third with that right now, and we do have those Hellions trying to move across the map. We do have an evolution chamber again dropped here for DIMAGA. This will try to cut back on any possible movement for those Hellions, doing what he can to do some damage to that Evo chamber. Now, the Hellions aren't the greatest of units to try to take out buildings, but still doing a little bit of damage is better than nothing. We have those Queens coming forward. TLO responding just in the nick of time, though, microing back before taking much damage. The SCV gets a few shots there from those Queens, but is able to pull back without actually losing his life. Marines consistently working here on those rocks. DIMAGA now aware of this. Let's see how he responds to the fact that these rocks are getting very close to destroyed here. He does have 8 Zerglings coming out. Another Spine Crawler is getting built. That one up here in the main. Also, that Metabolic Boost starting right now. But these rocks will be destroyed very soon. Now, we do have some regular Zerglings over here. Still will be a little bit while until those are actually Speedlings. About 50% of the way finished right now. Let's see what the little one does have for transitions. Very factory heavy, so we will be going straight up mech in this game. He also has that armory there for those upgrades, allowing him to get those Thors as well. Now, these rocks are down, so the little one is, yes, mixing it up from what we saw last game. We'll just be going so very mech heavy. The rocks are down, and let's see how DIMAGA can deal with this. He's just making enough Zerglings now to be able to respond to this. This expansion not going to be mining for quite some time. We've got those regular Zerglings as well as those Queens coming down to try to deal with this harass. Let's see how much damage the little one can do. Trying to micro away Queen, trying to pin him in the corner. Needs to be careful though. Zerglings getting lined up. Lots of damage there. Now those Hellions are taking a bit of damage as well. A couple of Marines here. Nice transfuse on that Queen, saving it. There's a Spine Crawler up, and DIMAGA looks like he has managed to stop the little one's Hellion aggression. We do have Blue Flame coming out. Speedlings trying to work at the backside while the Queens go from the other direction. Here we go. We'll be trying to pin those Hellions in the corner, trying to get us around, and there you go. The Speedlings having a much easier time dealing with those Hellions, taking them out before that Infernal Pre-Igniter finishes, and that's really rough now for the little one. The little one pretty far behind right now in terms of resources lost. Very nice play there by DIMAGA, getting out that Metabolic Boost in the second that he did, wrapping those Speedlings from behind, and then pushing from the other side with those Queens. Very nice play there from DIMAGA. Now DIMAGA will be grabbing those Xel'Naga towers, pushing out, not necessarily for a counterattack, but just trying to test the waters and see what he can see. We do have that Thor out in play right now for the little one. The little one is also coming out with a few more Hellions. That Infernal Pre-Igniter is coming through. The Terran Vehicle level weapons 1, and actually the SCVs engaging, plus that Thor, able to take out all of those Speedlings. Still that one Speedling grabbing that Xel'Naga tower. But I am pretty impressed there with DIMAGA's defense. That was actually really nice. Now he does have a second Evolution Chamber coming out, and again, this is to try to cut back any path that those Hellions could move through in the future. Infestation Pit, allowing him to tech up to that Hive tech, get those higher upgrades, as well as, having Infestors. If he does end up, he's going to want to confirm. He did see that, he did see that Thor, so he's probably reasonably sure that he's coming against a mech play. That's, there's really no other time you're going to see Thor unless you see like Marine Tank and 1 or 2 Thors splashed in the mix. And those Speedlings need to be careful right now. This Hellion's getting dangerously close to roasting them all, but with that speed advantage, they are able to pull away right now. But yeah, very interesting. Now those Infestors will be probably getting Neuroparasite. I'm expecting that to happen because if he is against mech play, which he is, that Neuroparasite is going to help a lot against those Thors and tanks. Very effective against that particular unit composition. A couple more Hellions moving across the map again, just trying to do what he can for damage and try to get some map control. Doesn't look like the little one knows that those 2 Zerglings are chilling out at these 2 towers here though. Not really too concerned though. 2 Zerglings won't do a lot of damage. They're just providing DIMAGA with that scouting information right now. We have this in-base hatch. Aspire is up, I believe. Yes, we did see some mutas. There are 9 mutas. I'm not sure where they are. There we go. So 9 mutas moving across the map right now for DIMAGA. He will, of course, need to stay away from any Thors that are in the little one's base. And does the little one have some Thors in his main? Yes, he does. So just trying to protect against any type of muta harass that he may see. A couple of hits, doing a little bit of damage, just getting a Zergling here and there. But those mutas getting primed for attack right now. They will actually be walking right by that Thor. They need to be careful. 1 SCV down. There's a little splash damage to 3 of those mutas. A little more splash damage. He's just trying to do a little bit of damage without losing any mutas. He needs to be careful though, losing 1 muta already. We got a second Thor out, and no, DIMAGA taking a lot of damage here from those Thors, but he doesn't care. Sacrificing these mutas just to try to do as much economic damage as possible. And the little ones beefed up Thors here. 4 of them in his main were able to tear through those mutas. Very interested to see if that was really worth it. Evidently not, because, I mean, he did do economic damage, so that is something to keep in mind. Let's take a look at the Imcon tab. Yes, DIMAGA is slightly ahead of gas, a little bit behind right now, however, when it comes to the little one in Minerals Gather. That's probably due to those mules, but he took a lot of losses there. Mules are very expensive, costing 100 SP in each. It's pretty huge. We do have DIMAGA moving out to this expo. I'm not entirely certain that was the wisest decision to stay in there just to try to kill off a few more SCVs, and in return lose all all of your mutas. I believe there were 8 or 9 mutas there, so that's about 900 vests being lost and 900 minerals as well. That's a pretty hefty loss just for killing a few SCVs. We have a big push coming out right now for the little one. The little one also working on his weapons level 2 upgrade, siege tech coming out. We do have a roach transition right now coming through for DIMAGA, also getting those missile level 1 upgrades. And let's take a look at his Evo chambers. So yes, this will be the missile level 1 upgrade coming through. He already does have the melee as well as the carapace upgrade for his ground units. But yeah, that mech push has actually decided to pull back right now. Feeling like now is not the time to engage. Wants to maybe just get a few more forces, possibly even wait until that siege tech completes. That will be a good idea as well. Now there we go. We do have that neuroparasite finish right now. Hasn't bothered getting those pathogen glands. That's interesting though. I thought I saw him start pathogen glands. He may have very well canceled that though to switch to that neuroparasite, or maybe I was just mistaken from the get-go. Little one now has his third base up, not fully saturated yet. He does have a fairly decent saturation over here, probably a little oversaturated at his natural. Actually, no, there's nobody kind of meandering around. This guy's just chilling out, though. That's no good, the little one. Get him to work. And there we go, rallying up his forces. And now that he has siege tech, he may be getting ready to push out. Actually, it looks like he's just moving into his 4th expansion. So little one trying to secure himself right now, setting up in a nice defensive position once this expansion gets dropped. Hopefully, we see a planetary fortress and see some of those tanks pull on over to try to defend that. So just throw a tank right now. He will be coming out with a few Hellions as well. A couple of Hellions sitting at the DIMAGA tower. We get some roaches moving across the map though, and those Hellions need to avoid those because they do not do well at all against those roaches. So Hellions want to pull back to the safety of those Thorson tanks before trying to engage roaches at all. Couple of Banshees coming into play as well. Very interesting by the little one. Just throwing some Banshees in the mix, trying to add to some diversity there. And the roaches engaging those Hellions, forcing them to push back right now. And it looks like DIMAGA does have the control of all of those DIMAGA towers. This does provide him with the insight of the fact that, wow, the little one's sitting on a very strong mech force there and trying to defend this expansion. But it looks like DIMAGA is ready to push right now. He's got those infestors. Keep in mind, Neuroparasite should be going down on some of those tanks, very likely. No! Oh my gosh, those infestors getting roasted. Just absolutely burnt through by those siege tanks. However, these roaches being so resilient, pushing up against that tank line. He did do quite a bit of damage. Very unfortunate though, because of that heavy siege tank line from the little one. DIMAGA lost all of his infestors without getting a single neuroparasite off. So that is very, very unfortunate, most certainly for DIMAGA. I'm going to say yes, he took, again, some heavy losses. So the last 2 engagements, that Muta Harass plus that big engagement with those roaches and infestors, DIMAGA does look to come out on the losing end. The little one changing that to a planetary fortress now has a nice and secure position here, trying to defend both angles. And DIMAGA does just basically want to try to macro up at this point. Now he's got a Greater Spire coming out. This will of course be for a transition into Broodlords. Broodlords do very, very well against mech play. One of the primary reasons being is because you don't have a lot of good anti-Broodlord options. The Thor isn't the greatest against the Broodlord. The best thing that the best thing that Terran has against Broodlords is Stim Marines if you can get them up under them, and then also Vikings. However, a problem with Stim Marines, and one of the reasons why Marine Tank it becomes a little less durable during the end game, is because you see fungal growths just completely wipe through your Marines as they try to get up under the Broodlords. So again, the little one will need to get ready for a transition to deal with those Broodlords, because right now he really has nothing. Again, these Thors not very good. The Banshees clearly not going to help at all, neither will the tanks or those Hellions. So yes, this could be a very strong switch here for DIMAGA, and something that, you know, his opponent, the little one, may not be prepared for. Now again, we have seen this expansion up for DIMAGA. He was primarily going for Vespian, though he is starting to get a little bit of saturation on those minerals and even transferring over some workers. At the same time, DIMAGA is coming up right now with that 5th expansion right here in the middle to try to mirror the little one's expansion in the middle. And the little one just keeping up those upgrades. He also has a Raven coming out, 1 Viking right now, although I think that will be it besides those Thors for that anti-air. Here comes a big push right now, moving forward first with those cloaked Banshees. Very nice. They will be leading the way and trying to snipe down some of these infestors. They do need to try to avoid fungal growth, and there we go, fungal growth decloaking. A couple of Queens will begin them, but there we go, cloak gets redropped, and this is very, very nice for the little one. He is taking out most of those infestors. That is a problem. So here comes that heavy push right now, setting up a few siege tanks, trying to get a little bit of a leapfrog, and those cloaked Banshees prove to be very effective, sniping out those infestors. Now keep in mind again though, Broodlords are in play. There's a lot of roaches coming on through, and these cloaked Banshees still doing some damage. However, DIMAGA has lost this expansion. Looks like he's pulling back right now, still doing what he can for damage with these cloaked Banshees. Now that he knows that these Broodlords are in play, he is responding. You can see right now coming out with a ton of Vikings. And once more, that's going to be basically his most effective unit based on its composition right now to deal with this. And uh-oh, looks like he has scouted out this expansion. So knowing this expansion is here with those scouting Hellions, he will be moving the bulk of his forces down to try to take this out. Shouldn't be a problem at all. So DIMAGA, already losing one hatch, is in a position that he's about to lose that second one, and that's a little scary. Couple of tank scouts, pretty much the last thing in the world you expect. But here we go. Tank line is up. Thor's pushing forward to drop this expansion. And oh, very close. He was about to walk up in that tank line while those Thors were distracted at this expo. The little one will be sitting with just the 1/3 to defend this, but at the same time, DIMAGA may be moving out with a counterattack, and this could be a problem. We do have a decent tank line, plus a little bit of buffer with those racks, but those roaches pushing right on through, target firing down those tanks, and see you later. Tanks get dropped. We do have the rest of the little one's forces pushing from the backside here. Just sitting roach heavy at this point. Not sure where those Brewlords are. They are back in the main, so the roaches are just going to be wreaking havoc right now, taking out those tanks, forcing the cancellation of those 2 racks. And look at how much faster those roaches are than the mech army, and this is a big problem for mech play. It's just so immobile. It takes so very long to get your units moving. A couple roaches moving on in this expansion. Few over here just trying to kill off some SCVs. SCVs won't be able to do much at all against those roaches. Roaches moving right up in the main, taking out a few of those Hellions as well. Banshees doing what they can. Those Thors out of range right now. Vikings don't really want to land because those roaches will just tear through them. There we go. Now that Thors are up, he can start two-shotting those roaches here. But look at that. Just doing so much damage to the little one's main base with these few roaches. And again, taking out all the SCVs over there. A few more roaches still doing some economic damage over there. And roaches right now up in the main resource line of the little one and doing what he can to claw himself back in this game. Let's take a look. Still quite a bit behind, but that certainly helped. He's able to do a lot of damage, taking out those tanks here at this third, doing some econ damage over here, and then also killing off a few Hellions and some SCVs up in the main as well. So very, very nice. Now, at this point of the game, the little one is prepared to deal with those Brewlords. Sitting at 15 Vikings. Look at that. The second he saw Brewlords, he's like, screw that. I'm coming out with mass Vikings. Now 17 Vikings. That may be a little bit much, but the threat of Brewlords is very, very dangerous. So coming out with a massive amount of Vikings is, again, going to be the little one's only real method of being able to contend with that. Cloak Banshee moving across the map with this Raven, giving him the vision to drop out those creep tumors, denying all of this vision for DIMAGA. And then at the same time, a couple of Thors following it up the rear, and the Banshee just going to town here. These Banshees are just completely nuts this game, getting so many kills. A couple of Vikings trying to engage there. A lot of Corruptors there. A few Roaches sitting over here for DIMAGA. And we do really need to be careful. The little one is in danger of losing these Thors, being so far away from the bulk of his army, and that's going to happen right now. Roach is moving down, getting a full surround there. Nice concave, taking out those Thors as quick as possible. And this Thor and Hellion are gone as well. And this is what I was worried about. The little one just having these rogue Thors sitting around the map, getting overwhelmed quite easily there by DIMAGA. Look at all these Vikings moving across the map. 17 Vikings, 4 more in production. We'll be trying to take out those Corruptors, but there are a lot of Corruptors there as well. Brewlords don't want to engage at this point, and look at this. Just a little battle between these two. The Vikings of the little one trying to micro away from those Corruptors. Those Corruptors are very durable, though, being heavily armored units, and will actually be forced to push back, though, because the little one is overwhelming him in terms of numbers. He just has so many Vikings right now. Trying to come out this expansion, but Cloak Banshees continuing to go to town. This one with 3 kills, that one with 3 kills as well. Looks like this is part of the new wave of recruits for those Banshees, but the little one has done pretty massive damage with those. And there we go, catching those tanks out of siege a little bit, able to get up on them and get a few of them taken out before the rest of them siege up. Roaches continuing to push. We do have those Brewlords moving on down, and those will be taking out those tanks, no problem as well. And the Vikings will just be target firing down, but look how long it even takes those Vikings to be able to drop them, forcing that tank line back. We've got a couple Zerglings as well as Infestors moving out right now. A couple Queens moving in to engage, but they're having to contend with those point defense drones. Vikings landed. Those get a little bit of damage, and they don't get taken out because of those point defense drones. Little one's able to push back right now against DIMAGA, and DIMAGA's in a very tough spot. He's only got a few Infestors. He's got no sort of counterattack, and there is the GG. The little one opened up this game again with some quick Hellions into expansion, to which DIMAGA responded by moving straight into his third. The little one then broke through these back rocks, and this allowed him to push right up into the third expansion and try to move up into the natural of DIMAGA. However, DIMAGA was prepared for this, moving down with these Queens as well as these Zerglings, able to get us around, and although the little one was able to do a bit of damage, he got completely outnumbered by DIMAGA. The Speedlings just about to finish were able to surround from the backside, and that's what stopped the little one's push. The little one went for mech play this game, and we did see DIMAGA move out with some of his mutas to try to do some econ harass. However, he did unfortunately keep his mutas in as the Thors piled out here for the little one, and the little one was able to actually take out all of these mutas and DIMAGA, trying to take out just a few SCVs, ended up losing a heavy amount of resources. The little one then moved into his 4th expansion, and as the little one was setting up, we did see DIMAGA trying to push out with a Roach Infestor army composition. Unfortunately, those Infestors got completely sniped by those siege tanks before they could drop a single Neuroparasite. This was again another big loss for DIMAGA. Leading the way with Banshees, the little one was able to snipe out the Infestors, which allowed his mech army to push right up onto the 4th expansion of DIMAGA, which made for an easy free kill. The little one then moved out to take DIMAGA's 4th expansion. With a heavy Roach counterattack, DIMAGA was able to do a bit of econ damage to the little one, however not enough to get him back in the game. The little one moved out with the game's final push at 25 minutes. He was able to overwhelm all of the Roaches, and with these heavy Viking numbers, was able to snipe down the Broodlords, and at that point, DIMAGA had nothing to deal with the rest of the little one's mech, and that forced the GG. Alright guys, so thank you so much for watching. This was actually just 2 games between these 2 players. DIMAGA won 1 and the little one won 1, so how excellent is that? As always, thank you so much for watching. If you like the content, please be sure to subscribe. We'll be coming out with some more commentaries as well as strategy videos for the day, so stay tuned for that. And as always guys, keep watching and keep owning.